Does everyone know what time it is? Yeah! That's right. It's time for a...
Oh, he got married?
And we're back to another week of Dallas Beer Talk. And we just got some news off air, and Andrew's all fucked up on that.
Oh, man, I didn't know. Hit me with a bombshell, guys. Beautiful bombshell. We won't discuss it because it's private business. But
he came in last second. But
Yeah.
I am your host, Victor Santana. To my right, the return of
Yes.
PC Master Race Kirsty. What's going on?
So glad to be back. I needed a beer today, so thank you for providing so much.
I think I needed a beer today, too. I had a rough morning. And then we have Beer Guru Drew, which unfortunately he not picked the beer this week.
I didn't. And I'm honestly excited. I think you got some good choices there. So
Quick story behind the two beers I picked, but we always can't do the show without the man behind the veil, Ziggy with the master plan. What's going on?
Hello, guys. Today's Dallas Beer Talk is brought to you by Anything But Anime. Would you like to have an interesting conversation with someone? Would you like to have a viable, wonderful life? Would you like to have sex with someone ever? Well, try Anything But Anime. It's literally anything but anime. From the makers of Anything But Manga.
So, for people who endured with us the last few weeks, we've been very anime heavy on this show, as well as off the air.
yeah, we nerd out, especially when Kirsty's not
Quite a
here.
bit.
Yeah.
It starts like delving into like anime stuff.
You're like, Christian's not here. We'll talk all about anime.
Yeah,
But
finally.
that's fine with me. So
Sports and girls and anime.
And anime. Titties and beer.
Titties and beer.
The Big Five.
That's what they say in the industry.
Oh,
the Big
man.
Five.
So, it sounds like everybody's had an interesting week so far.
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Work's been hectic for you.
definitely. A lot of overtime, making that cash.
About time.
That's right.
Mhm.
Got to pay
Got a
for that
haircut?
pool. Yeah, I did. I got a haircut
Yeah.
finally. So viewers might notice I don't have a hat on today.
The show
Yeah.
also. The golden locks.
Yeah.
Yeah, my it's very golden. So golden in the wind.
I keep a hat on because of my beautiful locks.
That's right.
You know, bald. So this dude at work, like I see in the hallways sometimes, I took my hat off. He's like, "Man, you got a haircut." It's like, "Why so short this time?" I was like, "Cause I'm balding."
He's like, oh.
He's like, "Oh, okay." He didn't know to respond. I'm like, "Listen, I'm not gonna keep my little hair on the side. I have like a patch missing up here."
What's like a funny response to that? He'd be like, oh.
I didn't
You
say
do
it.
you.
See, my first thought is if he was a woman, he would have been like, "Oh, it's a good thing you look good without hair." Then you get that compliment in. It's like,
See.
we didn't insult you.
Kirsty's got those good, like, she's quick on her feet when it comes to that. She's
Yeah.
like, oh,
I think it's a
you look great, though.
female thing.
Yeah.
Looks so well on you.
I'm
It's a
telling
good
you,
response.
go full Vin Diesel, man. Just do it.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
No, you should go full Michael Jordan and just shave everything, but have like a little Hitler mustache.
Yeah.
And then a hoop
Well, I think
earring.
you confused with being white like a few seconds ago.
Yeah. Well, no, he lied and was like, "No, I wasn't talking to you."
No, because he was going to rant. You white people are so crazy. I was like, you think? I thought he was talking to like it was a gentleman in front of me, but he was like staring right at me afterwards.
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh, you think I'm white?" And when I said it like that, he was like, "No. No, I didn't think you were white."
Wait, was he cross-eyed? Maybe he was talking to the
No,
other
it was
guy,
this
but he
black
looked
guy
at
that was
you.
getting kicked out of 7-Eleven.
No.
Yeah, he kept asking for free stuff.
To
all
be
over the
fair,
place.
before you got on air, you were wearing your "Make America Great Again."
That's
Hey,
true.
listen.
He swapped it
Who
out.
was gonna keep that a secret? All
He
right.
swapped it out. Not the Yankees. What are you rocking today?
Oh, my favorite hat, my Pittsburgh
Ah,
Pirates
the
hat,
Pirates.
my Dominican flag.
Okay.
That's right.
Very nice.
Only time he claims the Dominican Republic on the hat.
It's always on the hat only.
The only time he claims
Hear that,
Pittsburgh.
Mom?
But yeah, and then he went on this real powerful rant that white people are crazy and he's real Christian, his family's Christian. I was like, nah.
That's what I thought was the funniest thing. It was like, these white people are crazy. You know, I'm Christian too. You know, I was like, wait a minute.
One love,
There's
baby.
plenty of white people I know who aren't Christian, but
It's-
yeah.
Well, according to Dr. Umar Johnson, well, that's another conversation.
Did you watch his
Lord.
videos, Dr. Umar Johnson? So I'm not gonna get into this conversation because we don't have a black person on the show that to have a fair conversation. And then the reason we had a few topics last week that was off air. We couldn't talk about it because I felt like we didn't have a woman to represent these conversations.
Oh,
We
no.
did.
Ooh,
I forgot
this
about
week we do,
those.
though.
Now we have a woman back on the
Buried
show.
them
So
deep.
I'm going to go on my sexist rant for a second.
Oh, God. Why are you going to start out like that?
It's
Thank
gonna be
God we have a woman here so I can be sexist.
No,
There
not
you
be
go.
sexist. My rant.
You
of being
defend
sexist.
your people.
Oh,
Let's
okay.
you know before you go on your rant, let's get a little drunk first. Let's
Yeah.
do that before
Even
you
better.
lose your stuff.
My show. My
Cuts
show.
it off.
Cut my mic off like Conor McGregor. I'm gonna go get another mic.
Oh yeah.
So I have our friend Chanel at Whole Foods invited me to the Whole Foods bar, which I never realized Whole Foods had a bar. The one over here, McKinney Avenue,
Very nice bar, as I understand it.
and then there's another one here in Dallas has a bar as well. For apparently that's where all the hipsters like to drink. From her information, but she invited me over saying there was a few brewery people that she's showcased in here. If I want to meet them, like a sales rep in their beer. So, forgive me. Don't remember the woman's name. I forgot her card at the house,
Ah.
and I want to say a name, but I'm
Nah,
like,
it doesn't- just
I'm
Yeah,
pretty sure it's
let's
the
not
wrong
mess it
name.
up.
Yeah.
don't even
We'll
swing at
post it on our social media later.
Thank you very much, Frank. You were very helpful to Victor. It was, you know.
beautiful person, Frank.
Yeah, yeah,
beautiful,
yeah.
beautiful woman. But no, so the brewery name is Cope. Cope. I don't know how they would pronounce it, but
We'll find out in a couple
we'll
weeks.
find out in a couple weeks. They're gonna be on the show August 17th. They will be on the show, but they were kind enough to give us beer.
Mhm.
First of all, they were doing like a tasting of their beer and showcasing it. And I had 4 different ones. 2 of them, I had these 2 here. One is F5, one's Alpha Hive. Both are IPAs. The F5 is their original. They have it all year round. And then the Alpha Hive is their seasonal for right now. The Alpha Hive is a double IPA, and their F5 is a West Coast style IPA. Very delicious, both of them, in my opinion. And I do not like IPAs.
From Oklahoma, right?
From Oklahoma.
Big
Oh,
ups
So
to
that'll be
Oklahoma.
interesting. Yeah.
yeah, and they got super excited saying that everybody in the show is from Oklahoma, basically.
Yeah, pretty much.
Basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was thinking about it. Yeah.
For the most
Yeah, except
part.
for me.
Mhm, yeah.
And that one guy.
Except
This
that
one
New
guy
Yorker.
That
one
Northeasterner.
random guy who's white / Latin sometimes.
That white guy from New York.
But they were super nice. But they have this one beer that's mixed in barrels, whiskey barrels.
Mhm.
So it has a very like strong taste. It smells like you're drinking a whiskey, but it's just beer.
That bourbon barrel aged.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and it's
That'll be
weird. And I
good.
like that. And they have another one that is just all fucked. I wouldn't buy that one. I wanted to buy that one originally.
Mhm.
And
It's probably pretty strong, no?
no, not the whiskey barrel aged one. No,
Yeah.
it's not that strong. It's like
Really?
only 5%.
Oh, really?
You know, but it smells like it has whiskey in it,
Mhm.
but it doesn't. It's
Well, the
fucking
last whiskey
trippy.
barrel we had was pretty strong.
Well, this one wasn't.
So-
It was pretty trippy. When you smell it, you think you smell whiskey, and then you kind
That's
of
real
do.
smooth.
Yeah, it's from
Yeah.
the, yeah.
You kind of do smell the whiskey, but it's pretty interesting. It was a nice smell. They have another one that had a crazy smell to it, and I want her to explain it because when you smell it, I smell like lemon to it,
Mm.
but it tastes like it had peppers in it. So like in my head, when I'm smelling it, I'm thinking I'm gonna taste one way, but it's complete opposite.
Mhm.
And I couldn't figure out if I liked the beer or not. And I wanted to buy that just to mess with you guys,
Mm-hmm.
but I was like, no, it's pretty expensive.
I was gonna say no. I don't
We'll
want to do
wait
that to you
on
guys.
that
That doesn't need me. No, it was expensive.
Yeah, it's like they only made a small batch of it, and it's like, I like you guys, but not that much. Not that much to fuck with you.
Okay.
We'll
I
have her bring some
understand.
on the show.
Yes, definitely. So what we're gonna try first is their regular F5, their West Coast style IPA. And I bought these growlers at Whole Foods, which is pretty legit, 64 ounces.
Those are nice.
Yeah, those are really nice.
I have one that's like just like a glass one, but those are pretty sweet.
Mm-hmm. I was just talking with my wife earlier this week trying to figure out where we can get some. So perfect. Whole Foods.
Whole Foods
Definitely Whole Foods on
always
McKinney
2
Avenue.
minutes.
or
Yeah.
Taps and Caps out there. in Fort
Taps and
Worth.
Caps. Or social. Shout out to Social Pie. They also watch this
They
show.
do.
Yes.
Social Pie does have some good
Now-
ones.
I have here on their website their description for the F5 IPA that we're about to imbibe. It's a straightforward malt body, supports the distinctive bouquet of Columbus and Falconer's Flight hops that impart citrus, grapefruit, and pine notes characteristic of the West Coast style.
It's
Sounds good.
So my first introduction to understanding there might be a different style of IPA was first from my friend Sammy, who also says he does not like what they call Texas style IPAs.
Mm-hmm.
And here you go, young man. Thank you. Which it's definitely more hop flavor up front.
Mm-hmm.
He says most people don't like that style.
Yeah.
Our friends at Penny Colas and our friends at Bitter Sister says Texas technically does not have a style of IPA, but talking to other brewers from West Coast, that's what they call it, the hoppiness up front, the real hit type flavor is more traditional to what they call Texas or Southern IPA. So this one's West Coast, and I heard I would like it. But then when I tried it from our friends at Manhattan Projects, that West Coast style IPA was delicious, and then so is this one right here. So salud.
Salud. It's got a nice floralness to it when you smell it.
Yeah.
Reminds me of the Breckenridge 471, but kind of I think it comes from like the dry hopping, as I understand it.
They do dry hop this one. They do dry hop both of them. Apparently, dry hopping is
So dry, you kind of break it down. Dry hopping.
Break
it down.
I got a quick summary of what dry hopping is, but I don't want to be like I know it. I got it from a brewmaster at Texas Ale Projects.
Please enunciate when you say that.
Oh, what'd I say?
Dry hopping.
Oh no, he was dry humping.
I was humping all day.
He was dry humping.
Let me hump. Let me live. No, so wet hopping is the way they is very uncommon. Apparently, when they pick the hops off the vines, they dry it and then submerge it and have it aged there. Where dry hopping is they take it off the vine and then dry it quickly, so it doesn't have that process. Keep the floral taste as much as possible.
So what I understand it is they make their the first part they use the sugars and the yeast, and then they make and they add their hops to it after that, and that's the first part of the hops, and then the dry hopping is like after the fact, like right. Well,
dry hopping so coming from the sales rep and the brewmaster now, and that's why I'd rather have them explain it.
Yeah,
because they got into a lot of details of distributors because they buy it from locals. Apparently most of the hops is bought on the East Coast. And the way the distributors make it is already dry. So when you get the dry hops in, that's when you add them in. They're already dried, and you get them in and ship them in. Oh. And then wet hops, you ship them in wet. But it's the way they age it and stuff like that. And they were going to distributorship, and the reason why most people don't use wet hops when they make it because it is really, really expensive, and the contracts for it is really, really hard to get.
Interesting.
Oh, okay.
Apparently, when you make a hop contract, like you have to do it for X amount of years.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
So it's kind of hard to get that wet hops type style, and it's harder to brew with it apparently. Again,
did they say anything about like the dry hopping? Like they use it like at the end, and it it imparts like just that floralness, but not so much like the bitterness at the end.
That depends on the style you want to make, apparently. And I did not ask that question when I was drinking. I was just appreciating the knowledge they were sharing.
You were drunk.
No, I was actually pretty sober.
That was code word for I was drunk. I was just
listening.
Well, there's parts of industries where you don't expect there's conflicts or there's things you don't think about, like contracts for hops. Like who thinks about thinks about making a contract out of making a beer? I want to make sure I get a contract with a hop distributor, make sure I get my hops.
True.
And then apparently there's contract links to it and volume demands or something like that.
Yeah.
And it was just information I never even thought to think about. So I was kind of engaged in that aspect of it, and then just enjoying the beer is like real sweet. You could taste the fruits to it. They say grapefruit kind of flavor to it. I don't know. I don't taste that to me, but it just tastes sweet, and the aroma is great to the beer. And this is like an IPA that this would have been my first introduction to IPA, I'd be like, yo, I really like IPAs. Like this is super smooth. And I think, Ziggy, what is this, like 5% ABV? 6.8.
Yeah.
About to hit 7.
I mean, for an IPA, I can definitely still tell it's an IPA.
Yeah.
But it's like what you said. It's a lot smoother. I can still taste the hoppiness. It does have a little bit of a bite to it. But I could drink it for sure.
Yeah, I get like the little floral notes. It smells really, really good when you go in for it. And then it's got a good flavor. It's very smooth. And then on the tail end, it's got a little bit of bitterness. That's what I get from it.
See, I get the fruit flavor up front. Then I get the middle part of the flavor. And this is what I was explaining to the lady. I was like, I'm very dumb. So I try to explain things the dumbest possible ways. Like I say, it has to be like cooking. the food when I cook should be balanced. The spices and stuff like that should be balanced and feed off one another. And when I drink a beer like this, I get the fruit flavor first, then I get the hoppy flavor in the middle, and then I get the nice little note of bitter aftertaste at the end. So you get all the spectrum of what they're trying to do, and I like that part of it. You know, I definitely would prefer ports and stouts more. I still think I really like those styles of beer more, just for myself.
Yeah.
But like this is really good, and like I said, if this was the first style of IPA I was introduced to myself, I probably would have been a fan of IPAs.
Yeah, it would have been a total different story because the first IPA I had, I was like, I hate IPAs. I'm not going to ever drink it again. And then we started this show, and I've brought it to my mind. Yeah.
Do you remember what the first IPA you had was?
No. I'm pretty sure when I moved to Texas, I didn't really know there were different types of beers. So IPA, I was like, that's a brand. Whatever. I'm going to try it out.
Yeah. I remember going in and trying an IPA. I think it was, the first one I ever had was Lagunitas IPA. And it was at Flying Saucer. And I was like, oh, this has got a lot of flavor. Which is like, I think that's like one of the biggest things going from drinking like, you know, the typical Bud Light and, you know, Coors Light and all that kind of stuff. The generic brands or whatever. That you think that's what beer is, like, as a whole, right? Mm-hmm. And so then going and trying like craft beer, and you realize there's so many different like flavors and different styles, and it's crazy. You're like, because there's people that are always like, I don't like beer, you know, I like liquor, and that's all good and well. I'm not opposed to liquor by any means, but
we got those. Everybody have their fortes and what part of avenues you get into, right? You know, people get into liquor earlier because probably got mixed drink, they like that more. Some people got into beer earlier because that's all they could get. Sneak in and get some beers, and then they just stuck with it, right? Some people get into wine early on, and they stick with that because they think it's like a symbol, or they just like the taste, like,
or they like to slap the bag.
Slap the bag.
let's not forget about that.
We're not gonna talk about that, but I mean, I feel like again, like Kirsty, I didn't know there was different styles of beer until I moved to Texas, and then from there, I didn't think like they were any good. Like I think most beers were bad.
And coming from New York, I know Oklahoma, they didn't really know anything about beer until the last recent years. But New York, is it same kind of? There's not really craft beer.
No, apparently there's a huge craft beer scene.
There is.
In New York.
Yeah, there is. And there's a very big brewery out there called Brooklyn.
Yeah,
that's a really
that brewery.
very
is that
popular.
more of a recent thing, or has that been around for?
I mean, I think craft beer is becoming more popular just with the accessibility to it. Like everybody's more accessible to making craft beer and have the kids at their house. Yeah. And there's more people. Distributorship is easy to get now, apparently, in certain places. Texas still has their own problem they're dealing with that. Yeah. But I think it's just a growing trend in the last 20 years.
No, that's big. That's a big amount of time. But I agree. Yeah, it's definitely up and coming, and it's pretty cool to see because I feel like a beer snob sometimes when I go places, and I'm not. If I'm playing some beer pong and there's Bud Light, I'm chugging that down. Ain't no thing.
That's real easy.
Yeah. So,
but if you're gonna pay $8 for a glass of beer, you're gonna pay for $8 for something you want, right?
Yeah,
I get that.
It.
You know,
I get that. But same thing with liquor. If I'm gonna go out and if I'm paying $12 regardless for a glass of whiskey, I'm gonna get a glass of whiskey I want.
Yeah, Louis 13.
Yeah.
You know.
It's only $13.
That would be legit. That would be legit
all the time.
Oh man.
No, man, I completely understand that. But you know what gets to me and what I'm meeting is people again. Thank you to Whole Foods and Chanel. Thank you to everybody who's been real patient and talking to me.
Big ups to Chanel.
Just thanks, big ups to everybody taking their time and actually talking to me and understanding like I don't know shit. I got a lesson on glassware Monday. The different styles of glassware and why they're shaped that way and why you want to drink certain beers in those glassware.
That's kind of something we haven't really touched on before, but it's pretty interesting, the kind of things that they have.
You know, how you get the notes and stuff like that. I was just entrenched that there's a whole subculture of beer drinking that I'm just like, I was unaware of. And that's anything when you find out there's a whole culture behind it. When you don't know, there's something that you've been around your whole life and you didn't realize it, right?
Yeah.
Styles of beer, styles of cups. You know, temperature is very important. You know, if you want to get all the notes, you typically want to drink a cool to warm beer. You know, so it's just things that I'm finding super super fascinating with this, and I've been lucky enough that people have just been real cool. I haven't met yet. Now it's probably gonna happen anywhere in life. You're gonna meet someone's a dick, right? And that goes
back to don't be a dick.
Don't be a dick.
And everybody love everybody.
Sponsored by Dallas Beer Talk.
That's right.
We're gonna get our own Nike swoosh. Don't be a dick.
Don't be a dick.
Hold it a beer. Don't be a dick. But man, it's been fun.
That's what it's gonna be. It's gonna be the picture of a dick holding a beer, saying "Don't be a dick."
Don't be a
Little
dick.
Dickie as the mascot.
There we go.
Of the symbol of the dick.
I'll call her copyright lawyer.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Get it. I got Little Dickie's number. He's from the East Coast. I got his number real quick.
See if you could reach out to Mark Weinberg for us. See if you can get on that for
Marky
us.
Mark and Funky Bunch. Let's go.
But yeah, it's cool. I'm very appreciative to hear you say that you're getting into the culture, because I want you guys to.
No,
You know,
I've slowly
get down.
become a snob. Very
Yeah.
slowly but surely, like even the glass, like you were talking about, the different aromas you get from each glass, the taste that each glass adds. Like if I go to a place now and they don't give me the right glass, it doesn't taste as good.
It's true.
Or they
not
don't serve it
appreciating
right, or they serve it flat. I'm like, this beer's kind of flat.
You know, it's like it goes back to what they
Yeah.
say, that whole adage of once you go craft, you can't go back, right? And that
No.
something like
Is that a thing?
I think
Is that a thing?
something like that.
I
We'll make it a
started by
thing.
That's what she
Andrew.
told me.
Started by Andrew
That's
Franklin.
what she told me. So
It's like once you go hookah, you never go cigarettes, right?
that's right. Yeah, pretty soon.
No, I just feel like what has been great, because I've heard of beer snobs and I've seen them before from a distance, and I was like, this guy's a dick. From a distance, not understanding what's going on.
Yeah.
You
Not
know,
from the first
He
hand
had the little
interaction.
pipe in his mouth. And
yeah, he walked right into the bar with
That's
his
just
pipe,
Not
a
as good.
hipster, okay? And you were well within your rights.
and he had his
Yeah.
beard and his long hair. Like, come on, please, I don't drink this trash. No, I just feel like everybody's been really understanding of my lack of information and willingness to explain shit to me. And that's what I appreciate. Now, I wouldn't say I'm really getting into beer, but what I am saying is I do understand
Mhm.
what's going on. I still prefer, right now, whiskey and liquor first
Yeah.
if I'm going to drink at home. Right, that's my grab. I grab a glass of whiskey if I'm at the house.
It's classy. If you think
You
about
know,
yeah.
it. Well,
He's a real
I
man.
think the reason that a lot of people are very understanding is because knowing you as you are, you're a very upfront person. So you're like, hey, this is what I am. This is what I'm about. You know, I don't know this much, but teach me. And so people accept that, versus if you were like, yeah, that's shit, but I don't like it, and so whatever, you know, they're gonna be like, okay.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know.
and that's true too, is people can usually judge whether you're open or not to
Mm-hmm.
actually learning what they're talking about or what they appreciate. And if they can tell you're closed off, which 90% of the time people are closed off, they don't want to learn anything, then they'll take the time to show you because you'll appreciate it.
I think that's true with everything, because everyone wants to talk about stuff that they know about. And so if you are just receptive to that, you have a new friend all of a sudden. Like, how many times have I screamed to you guys about anime or politics in the pre-production of this show?
Never.
But I consider you all friends.
But yeah.
definitely friends here. I mean,
best.
definitely a friendship that's grown through this show. And I think that's another thing when I say, like, so when I go out and I talk about the show, definitely trying to promote it. It's like, yo, I host a beer podcast. They're like, oh, that's cool. So what's your favorite style of beer? I was like, I don't fucking know shit.
Yeah.
wait.
They're like, how do you host a beer podcast? Like, I'm not the beer guy, but I'm here promoting.
That's
It's
the
not
bit, guys. That's the bit.
Yeah, the average Joe's
Ba-da-bum.
and Andrew.
Oh, whatever. I'm not really not that far ahead of you guys.
Show.
I've just
Average Joe's.
Average
And
Joe.
Andrew.
I'm Globo Jim, okay? I'm Globo Jim. The average Joe's in Globo Jim. No, it's not beer guru. It's beer people, guys. All right? I want that to be known.
Yeah.
But
That was
anyways,
New
touching.
job title.
No, but it's amazing to see each brewery come in here and how passionate they are on everything and how willing they are to teach you. That's been my favorite thing out of the experience. I didn't think they'd be so cool and actually so knowledgeable, I guess. I imagine everyone's like me and it's just like beer, delicious, drink, drunk.
yeah, it is
But-
really cool to see like a lot of the stuff that kind of goes, like you were saying, behind the scenes. Stuff you don't really think about, or like, you know, the aspects of brewing, and then the way they like, you know, like throwing
The
off
science
terms and
behind
stuff, and
it
you're just like,
and-
wow.
Yeah.
So once we get a little mobile setup going, we'll kind of go out there and
Yeah,
try
I
to
spent
follow
eight-
the brewing
My $8,000 I
process.
had for a mobile setup I spent on my car.
Just threw it away.
Yeah.
Just do it away.
There was even Amazon Prime Day. You could have gotten a discount.
Can we talk about that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Amazon Prime Day for a second.
What? I bought a lot of stuff on there.
Did you? Okay. How many?
Like a weed whacker.
Okay.
Security system.
I didn't see the weed whacker, but I would have been interested in that. But there was like, okay, I was on it. I was at training for work, and I was training very hard, and I was looking at Amazon Prime, and me and one of our associates, and there wasn't much on there. I don't know. Did you guys look at Amazon Prime during Prime Day? I didn't see much.
One thing I was disappointed in, last year I got an amazing deal on my TV. I still haven't found another sale that beats it. Mm-hmm. And this year I realized, Amazon's selling their own TVs now. So their sales on TVs were terrible. So I feel like anything entertainment-wise, since Amazon is moving that way, they just didn't really give any sales. It was all house.
Yeah, like in the past, their sales on DVDs and video games and stuff have been really good. And this year, there was nothing that really grabbed me. But I will say this. There was Gizmodo did something really fun yesterday.
Sorry
Are you
that.
okay there, Victor?
No, fucked up.
Okay. They did something really funny on Gizmodo yesterday. Like at midnight when Prime Day started, they posted an article, the worst deals of Prime Day, and they just kept updating it throughout the day. That is awesome. And with just like one-line comments of like, this is the deal, and this is why it is terrible. Like they were selling a 5 Blu-ray DVD set of all the Predator movies, and the comment was, and it was for like $30. It's like, oh, that's great. 1.5 good movies for the price of 2. It was brutal. Like all
only sad
day.
because I was tempted
great.
by that sale. I was like, Predators is on sale. I didn't see $30 though. I wouldn't have gotten it for that.
On that note,
great. All day they did that.
That is funny. On that note, there was I kept seeing I don't know if you guys have seen it. It looks like Wolverine claws. Like it's like little metal claws. You stick your hand in, it has these little claws that come out. And they're specifically for pulled pork, like shredding the pulled pork. Oh, yeah.
Really?
Did you guys see that? Okay.
Oh my
So
gosh.
I kept seeing that pop up. It was like $15 for some pulled pork little claws. How into barbecue do you have to be like, all right, we're making pulled pork tonight again? I'm putting on my claws. And I'm going to shred up that. All you need is 2 forks. 2 forks if you cooked it right. If you didn't cook it right, you need the claws.
They make like an electronic thing that shreds meat.
It looked very pretty crazy.
Maybe they just really want to get into it. Like,
I
I could use a
guess.
fork, but I could also use my claws.
I feel like that's a bullshitter that has that.
Well, no, what it is
a hipster
You're
has
right.
that.
Like at that point, they're not into barbecue. They are just into maiming flesh.
They just give it
It's
to their
just a
kids.
budding serial killer.
Yeah.
But I'm like, 2
Like
forks
in Dexter,
will
when
do.
you got him early before you killed anything.
No.
Son, chill out.
Nothing will ever beat that first year when after the sales ended, their most popular one was like freaking gallons of lube. Like it was so much lube that no one would have never, like even a
How much lube do you need?
There's no expiration date on lube, ladies and gentlemen. So if you stock up,
true.
you're set for life.
I mean, it was a
I
literal
got 3
barrel,
bottles of lube
so-
for the last 2 years, and we're still good with.
It's still all right, I swear.
I need a gallon of lube.
So how does it go? Is it like a gallon that you put? It's like a little.
I mean,
thing you
it-
can open and refill stuff.
it
so
was
it's
a
like,
legit-
well, babe, the lube's looking a little light. Let me refill that real quick. How does that go?
It was a barrel. Like when it was ridiculous.
That's not.
That's
That's not a gallon. That's like 20 gallons.
I know,
That
I
you're
was
just
very
bathing
nice
in
with
it
the gallon.
before you go on your scene.
You knew only porn companies bought this, but even then, you were like, "Did you
fair,
really
fair.
need that much lube?"
Listen. I don't know what's going on, Linda.
Listen, Linda.
What do you think all those warehouses in LA store exactly?
Just a shit ton of lube.
Banksy artwork and lube.
And lube.
Oh man, classy. I don't even know what I was gonna say anymore.
Where does this go from here?
I just think about lube.
How do you think the New York subways run?
Better with lube on there.
Yeah. So that's how they sold all of them. So.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
You squeeze it on the end and it's like shoots out the tube.
So one of the things we were going to talk about last week that we didn't really get into because
Is that sexist talk?
Well,
my rant.
This won't be the
second.
sexual one, but we'll get into the lighter one to kind of break into that. But we were talking about the whole Amelia Earhart scenario. So did you guys hear about that? You looking a little like you don't know. So Amelia Earhart,
she's been working hard. All right,
she's been flying crop planes over the Pacific Islands.
She's been spreading chemtrails all over the world.
Chemtrails. Yeah. So apparently they found
talking about Kirsty, but all right.
Let's see if I can give the breakdown of it. It was an ex FBI director. I think it was FBI director.
Former
FBI director was like researching Amelia Earhart and what happened to her disappearance and all that sort of stuff.
Okay.
And she supposedly, there was a photo that they found in an archive that she was found. There was a photo of her that supposedly it was her and her co-pilot on a Pacific island that was under Japanese control around the time that she disappeared. And so everyone was up in arms like, oh my God, yeah, that could be her. And they finally know where she was, and she may have been caught as a spy.
Ooh.
And, kept until her death and da-da-da.
Okay.
And so that's like one of the theories that's out there right now. It's very popular. And so we were talking, I brought it up to Victor, and I was like, yeah, did you hear about that? And he's like, yeah, da-da-da. We're talking, and he had his Victor Santana approved insight on it. And so he said, I was like, it's pretty interesting, is what I said. It's pretty interesting. I don't know if it's true. The evidence seems kind of sketchy because they have a photo, and it's like a side profile of her sitting on a dock kind of in the distance and some guy walking to the side.
Okay.
But I was like, yeah, it's pretty interesting. We were talking about that the other day, and he was like, who the fuck cares about Amelia Earhart? What has she done? She's done nothing. What is she famous for?
What?
For getting lost and crashing her plane or dying. Yeah. So it kind of went to...
she got famous for trying something.
And I told him...
Trying and losing. This is not American culture.
But she was the first woman that...
No.
First famous woman?
No. She was not the first of anything. She's the first woman to attempt to fly... Or the first person to attempt to fly across the Atlantic Ocean.
Transatlantic?
Right? First woman.
Yeah.
She tried.
She tried and failed. But when do we acknowledge failure here in the United States? We don't acknowledge failure.
What does that have to do with this Amelia Earhart? Is she alive or not alive? Because
so that's how
I just kept thinking
like
Elvis. People always say he's alive. Tupac.
I was going to say, yeah, they found Tupac and Elvis in the jacuzzi right next door.
Wow, this is legit shit right here.
Yeah,
then
it's legit.
That's awesome.
But no, we were just talking.
Hold on one second. What's up, Ziggy?
Well, I hate to put a kibosh on this conversation, but
there's been an update.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Here is the headline: Japanese blogger discredits new Amelia Earhart documentary.
He did.
After 30 minutes of research.
Well.
So that photo that you're talking about comes from a History Channel documentary that was released recently that claims that Amelia Earhart survived her crash landing. The Guardian is reporting that military history blogger Kota Yamano from Japan published the photo to his blog in proper context, finding it after about 30 minutes of looking through Japan's National Library. The book that the photo is originally from was published in 1935, 2 years before Amelia Earhart's
disappearance.
What did I
disappearance.
say? What did I say?
Yeah, and so like I said,
let me take over this rant right here.
Get in there.
So when he brought this up to me, and I went on my little rant because I feel like Amelia Earhart is the most insignificant woman.
Oh my God!
In American history. Next to Marilyn Monroe. Marilyn Monroe is number one.
I agree with that one.
She's number two.
Yeah, so we had a running list going.
And this is my reason why she's insignificant. Because she didn't do anything. She wasn't the first to do anything. She wasn't the first woman pilot.
Nope.
She wasn't the first woman to attempt to fly. Like, she wasn't the first of anything. She attempted to fly across the Atlantic Ocean and failed.
And she was first.
But the only reason
she risked her life to make it.
The only reason she's famous is because she's white.
She was America's sweetheart, man.
Because she's white.
She was an inspiration to all women. That's what I told him. I said it was an inspiration to women.
I would say it's an inspiration.
And
I wouldn't say it has to do with anything with her being white, because there's nothing to compare it to.
Yeah,
she was the first
woman. There's a French woman who was the first pilot.
She was white too, though.
She was white, but
Yeah,
she's French.
it's like just because they're French don't mean they're not white.
But, no, I didn't say that they weren't white. The other women, there was like an Austrian woman who was like the first military pilot, or something like that, or Hungary woman. I can't remember.
So we started looking at like the list of like a list online of the most important women throughout history, and we came up with a lot of them.
I came up. So anybody just Google the top 10 most significant women of history. Amelia Earhart's in that list like 9 times out of 10. But compare her to the other women on that list.
Beyonce.
Fuck Beyonce. No, listen.
Beyonce.
Don't record that. Don't record that. The Beehive is very active.
Beyonce will kill you.
The Beehive is
I love
very, very
Lemonade.
active.
I love Lemonade.
Yeah, it's my favorite album of all time. No, but compared to the other women on that list who actually done stuff for women's equality, women's rights, the first woman doctor, the first recorded woman to be in active service as a nurse, like
First Supreme Court justice.
the first Supreme Court justice, the first woman mathematician, the first
Oprah
woman to
Winfrey.
win the Nobel Peace Prize. There's so many women in history who's made great strides that are way more significant than
I think part
Amelia
of it comes from.
The problem,
I see what you're saying with women. There are women who have definitely accomplished a lot more than her successfully. But think about the time when Amelia Earhart tried
the only thing special about her is that she's white and she's American.
But back in the times, it was just important the fact that a woman was going to try to fly through the Pacific same as a man because it was soon after.
The only reason why she's significant is because she's white.
I think it's part of it has to do with the times.
Well, but there was other women pilots.
Because that gave us women hope that we can do things like actually make it to.
There was other women doctors. There was other women mathematicians.
But she kind of paved the way. She made it to where a lot of women could look, or a lot of young girls could look at it and be like, we can try to do what men can do.
That's the
we
symbol
can make
that they
it.
use her as. But they use the symbol. They use a symbol of failure instead of a proven mathematician.
I mean, I can also agree with that. Is that media or people in general, they usually try to pick that one person to say, this is our role model. Look, you can do it. Go for it.
At the time, Amelia Earhart was paraded around in not newsreels, but it was movie theaters, like commercials in movie theaters before movies. They would talk about her. She was paraded around the United States.
America's sweetheart.
As America's sweetheart. Yes.
An inspiration.
The only reason she was famous here in the States, and the only reason we acknowledge her here in the States, is because she was the first American woman to attempt to do this. And she was white. If she was Latin, black, or any other ethnicity,
well, that I can agree with on the times,
they would not have given a fuck
like
about
during
her.
the times, nothing but white existed.
But the problem also at the time, there was women mathematicians and women doctors and doing great things, but just wasn't publicized. And also at the same time frame, there was European women who were doing great strive in the medicine industry, in the scientific industry, and literature culture. Like there were women all over Europe doing this stuff too. But you don't acknowledge that here in the States because they're not American. So that is my only gripe about Amelia Earhart.
Well, it's kind of like how media picks certain things. Like there are black people dying every day from very injustices, all types. But we only hear about certain select few.
What is
because
people dying every day?
The quote unquote best ones that will cause the most attention, who will actually bring attention to the issue at hand. So I don't know, maybe that's why Amelia was so popular, because they thought, well, she'll be the one to show women. No,
and there's a lot of reasons why she was popular at the time, and I'm just picking two that I feel like that I see overtly. Now I haven't done the research into it, but just quickly looking into, because I'm really big into history, just quickly glossing over history and who she was. Those are two overt things I could see and be like, okay, this is why she was popular, but she didn't actually do anything, you know. But when I heard the news article of her quote unquote being alive, I already called bullshit. I called bullshit because she flew, and I was guessing. I was like 3 or 2 years before the World War II even started, and we didn't enter until 2-3 years after it started. So there's no way she got captured by Japan. Mm-hmm. That's number one. Number two,
I want to disagree with that. Japan at the time was very militaristic.
Yes.
And in fact,
had control
they
of that
were
island for
taking over large swaths of Southeast Asia and China as early as like 33.
But it's their right to, as an imperial nation, as their right to, every other nation.
I don't think right is the correct word
at the time, and as every other nation does, when they have military strength, they take over weaker nations.
Right, but I don't. That's not their right.
As a nation, they can do as they see fit. Now, the nations they go against, is it fair to them? No. But as a nation, because America did it.
Oh yeah, but I think
England has done it. France has done it. Like every other nation has done it. Yeah. So they have an equal say to do the same thing.
True, but I think that they all have that period of where they went through that and they look back like, ooh, that was kind of messed up. We shouldn't have taken over all those areas. And
I think Russia is kind of mad they lost a lot of their states.
Yeah. Let's bust out the second beer we got here. That was very
long story short. That I call bullshit on it. Thank you, Ziggy, for.
Giving him the right to take over all the Japanese islands he wants.
Yes.
Exactly. Thank you, sir. And anime as I want.
So, what's this next beer we have on deck?
Now, can you confirm this for me? This is the Alpha Hive. I believe it's another West Coast style IPA, but I know this is the double IPA.
So on the earlier one, they explicitly said that it was a West Coast IPA, but here they say that it is an American hop profile and a delicate bee-crafted orange blossom honey from Northern California. So it sounds like all of the ingredients that they're getting would be the same that they'd use in a West Coast style IPA. Yes.
So this is a double IPA?
Yes, sir.
It is a double IPA. The ABV here is 9.1.
Ooh, okay.
Trying to get Kirsty drunk today.
Stronger. Yeah.
She said
That's
she needed a beer.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. This has definitely done me in so far.
It's got the names on the little.
Yeah.
His little cup.
That's all their regular beers, yeah. This one right now, I do not think, no offense, Kirsty, I don't think you will enjoy it as much. It's definitely sweeter than most IPAs we have had here.
Bees and honey, which automatically turned me off.
Beyonce.
But
you definitely
get
a sweet note to it as well as you did as the F5.
Mm-hmm.
In my opinion, you definitely get a sweet note to it like you do with the F5. But you definitely get more of a hoppy flavor with this one. Oh, sorry, I wasn't looking.
That's my like. He's good. He's good, son. All right, so I'm excited to try this. It smells really.
The last bit of it.
Really, really sweet. So we'll see. I might just like the regular IPA a little bit more than this.
Let us sample.
Salud.
Salud.
Huh. I actually feel like it's a little bit smoother, not as hoppy and sweet.
I think it's lacking that bitterness at the end.
This is why I like it.
Different flavor, but it's good.
Vastly different. So when
it's one straight flavor. I don't get as many pops.
Well, see, I get two pops to me personally. I get the hoppy pop in the front end. When you first drink it, like most IPAs you drink, you get that hit of hops first, but it quickly dies out with a hint of sweet at the end.
Yeah, and I can see that the honey kind of part to it. Like, it doesn't taste per se like honey as you know it, but it has like a... How do I explain it?
It smells like honey, and it has a sweet little note at the end. Now,
I do surprisingly like this a little bit more than the first one.
Okay. Oh, I was full of shit then.
Yeah. No, it's just a lot smoother. Whenever I have a beer that hits me with 4 flavors, I'm a little bit off guard, and I can only drink one. But this one, I could definitely drink a few throughout the night. So
definitely some beer pong with this.
Yeah. Watch some of that.
I'm going to get real drunk, yeah. I mean, I'm really good at beer pong, so I wouldn't get drunk. But my opponents...
That's the object, right? To get everybody trashed.
That's true. It's true.
So, Ziggy, what do you think about... Actually, unfortunately, Ziggy, I didn't ask you what you thought about the first beer and then this one.
I think I might like this one a little more, just like Kirsty does. Yeah.
Okay. Nice. I like it. I assumed wrong, because the reason why I assumed that you may not like it is because you get that hoppy flavor. But unlike a lot of IPAs, it's not a lasting taste. It's a very quick note of hop, and then dies out with a quick note of like being something sweet. You know, if you didn't read the description of honey, you'd be like, oh, something sweet at the end. I definitely couldn't taste it was honey. You definitely can't taste it as honey at all.
No, I don't think so, because I hate honey. But I'm a very basic bitch. And so I like one flavor or maybe two if you're pushing it all the way through. But when you hit me with a ton of different flavors like that first one, I can't handle it.
So
Basic bitch. So
similar to a friend of the show, Penny Colas. They have a beer called Sit Down or Sit You Down, something like that.
Yeah, sit down or sit you down.
Which is their double IPA,
I
right?
think the Imperial IPA.
It's the Imperial IPA.
Mm-hmm. Very good.
It's a very
It's
strong
good.
IPA. Where on that IPA, I only got 2 notes, right? And then they got their other style of IPA, which is the same one.
The
Good Call, something like that.
yes.
Good Call. And which I did not like the Good Call, which is their standard IPA. And I'm just like, I just don't like it. But that double IPA that you have, or your Imperial IPA, as they said, was way more delicious to me. Because again, the way you guys describe it is very simple notes. You have your beginning and then you have your tail end of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh man, I actually like that, even though I'm getting fucked up right now. Which that beer did get me fucked up.
yeah,
I think it was like
all
what?
those beers.
I think it was
Yeah.
like 10%.
5 of those beers.
Thank
got
you,
me
Penny
pretty
Colas. I
fucked
think
up.
Penny
Yeah.
Colas is probably one of my funnest shows we think we done here.
There was a lot of alcohol involved. So
They'll be
I want
invited back pretty quick.
Oh
so,
yeah, definitely. Anytime they want. Well, any of the breweries, really. To be honest,
Yeah.
they've all
I
been
think
really
everybody-
cool.
I think everybody's so
Everyone's
far.
been real cool.
Everybody, yeah, exactly.
And Manhattan Project definitely has to come back because I didn't get to meet them. So
well,
Scarcity.
big ups to Man Project. They're working really, really hard on finding a location to have their brewery, and they're dead set on one currently. And I don't know the details. I just wish them the best of luck.
yeah.
The moment that opens, we will be there.
Oh,
I
yeah.
gotta be there because I gotta try your beers.
To
I've heard
promote-
so
to
many
help
good
out.
things.
Exactly.
So there's 2 breweries now that I've so far in our early career of this is that I like every beer I've tried. First was Manhattan Project. Now all the beers we tried were good. The ones
yeah.
I didn't like, even the ones I didn't like, the different breweries that we tried here, and I didn't like them. I could see what they did, and I appreciate the effort they people put in and the excitement they put into it. Right, I appreciate that, even though I don't like the style. But the first brewery I've ever had that I liked every single beer was Manhattan Project. The second one was here, Coop.
Coop. I'm gonna say Coop.
Coop.
Co-op,
cool.
like video
Co-op.
games.
I think we've all had some good stuff on, and
Yeah, I
Look
think
forward
we
to all the
we
people
each
that
have
have
our
been fun.
favorites.
oh yeah,
So,
definitely.
I
And
mean,
many
mine
more
is
people
Bitter
to come.
Sisters, so
Yeah.
But Bitter Sisters was also another fantastic. Bitter Sisters, I think I learned the most talking to the gentleman at Bitter Sisters.
I don't know. You seem pretty intrigued by Manhattan Project.
No, I learned from both of them, but I think
Yeah.
I learned the most.
Yeah.
I think I learned from even people from Benny Colas. Like even people
Yeah.
are talking about the Texas Ale Project or Ale Brewery.
Yeah.
They were cool. Like everybody I've talked to and I'm learning from, they're great. But I think I learned the most
From Bitter
from
Sisters.
Bitter Sisters
Nice.
so far.
yeah.
Well, I want to kind of move this towards news. You got any good news this week for us, Ziggy?
I think we got time for a quick choice and then one that I definitely want to get to.
A quickie?
All right.
Yeah. So here's the choice. We're going to do rearrest, a union grievance, or a big toe.
What?
Oh, I'm tempted
kinda-
by that big old toe.
I'm kind of intrigued by the big toe.
Yeah.
I ain't talking about union arrest, but
Just
yeah, let's go
a
big
bunch
toe.
of fungi on there.
All right, here we go. An Australian man's thumb was surgically replaced by his big toe.
No.
Okay.
Stop it.
Yes.
I mean, similar.
Yes. I can. I
Similar.
will pop
You're
up
Megan
the
Fox.
photo right now so that you guys can see it.
I really don't want to see it. Then he can't.
It's too far away. It looks
Yeah,
the same. There we
well,
go.
you can see that he's missing his toe, and
Yeah.
that his thumb looks very fat.
He looks
that is what
semi-stoked
happens
right
there.
there.
I mean,
Yeah.
comparatively,
Wait.
they do look very similar.
Let's wait.
One just a little bit bigger.
Wait.
Because
Wait.
this article has a great last line that I want to
Read
get
the
to.
last line.
So,
I want
okay.
to get a
So
quick talk on this.
I'll try and get through this as quick as I can. So Zach Mitchell, 20, was injured in April while working on a remote farming property in Western Australia. A bull kicked my hand into the fence, Mr. Mitchell said of the incident. He underwent 2 unsuccessful operations to reattach his thumb before doctors opted to relocate his big toe in surgery that lasted 8 hours. Mr. Mitchell was flown to the hospital in the state capital of Perth after the incident, but efforts to save his thumb ultimately failed. Lead plastic surgeon Dr. Sean Nicklin said he was not surprised it took him time to accept the replacement. It is a bit of a crazy idea, Patients do not want to be injured in another part of their body to heal the original part, he said. However, even if you have 4 good fingers, if you do not have something to pinch against them, your hand has lost a huge amount of its function.
Opposable thumbs.
Yes. Mr. Mitchell will need more than 12 months of rehabilitation, but he plans to return to farm work. And the last line of this story is, doctors say Mr. Mitchell should eventually be able to return to his hobby of bull riding.
Oh, my God.
Ooh.
So that's
He's
what
gonna
injured him
lose
in the first
something
place?
else
Is
soon.
bull riding?
I think that's what it fucked
Oh
up his
my
hand. in the
God.
first place.
Yes.
Here's the deal. If you lose your big toe, you lose a very big function of running and walking and
Oh, yeah.
pivoting.
Actually, no.
Well,
They
a little
said
bit
that
balanced.
it's been about 3 weeks since the surgery, and it's going to take about another week, and he will be back to walking like normal.
Well,
Really?
pivoting and things like that is those functions that you take for granted, sidestepping and things like that, is an issue.
There's a balance issue, but I'm think like there's so much more like more daily functions in general
True.
that you can kind of like do with
especially
thumb.
as a
Think of his
farmer.
thumb. Like think of your big toe. Look at your big toe. Then take your big toe and put it where your thumb is at right now.
Yeah, it's called
It's
Megan Fox.
usable.
Have y'all seen
Oh,
Megan Fox?
Shit, that's true though.
Megan Fox
Whoa,
has
I don't wanna hear
a
it. Stop,
club
stop,
thumb.
stop it,
So what
stop
that
it.
But
means,
Megan
I
Fox,
don't-
if everyone
Listen,
comes on
we're
the show,
not talking about this on the show.
We'll-
Change
we're
our
not accepting
opinion.
this.
I
Cut his
but
mic off,
specifically
Ziggy.
No.
Victor wants
So-
Megan Fox on the show.
Cut this mic off.
Megan
Ziggy.
Fox can come on and we can discuss.
No, but I mean, true. You, as a farmer, especially nowadays,
You don't
need
talk
your
bad
hands
about
more
Megan
than
Fox
your
on the
feet.
show. All right.
Is that bad?
No.
You being the thumb,
No, I mean
thumb
that's
toe
fine.
thumbs?
Do whatever you want.
I'm just worried that people who have foot fetishes are going to have this surgery voluntarily.
Well,
Oh,
you know,
my
to
God.
each their own.
Oh my
To-
God.
Like, wow, look at that.
Oh my God! Yes,
Yeah.
this is all I ever wanted.
I know what I'm going to do with this later.
Oh my God.
Oh my God! This is. I think this
Well,
is
that
by
changed
far
the
my
story
favorite
much
show.
different than I ever imagined.
we have one more, and I mentioned the headline to you guys earlier. Drunk Leeds siege dad freed children in exchange for lager and crisps. This is from the Yorkshire Evening Post.
The Brits.
Yes. A drunk stepdad who falsely imprisoned 2 children in a Leeds flat and threatened to burn it down during a 3.5-hour standoff with police eventually freed them in exchange for beer and French fries.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Or
Is he
not
already
even
drunk?
French fries, for potato chips. Because crisps is
Damn,
potato
he's
chips
European,
in
so
UK. Yeah.
Fuck the French fries.
So a Leeds Crown Court heard his partner fled the flat in fear when he fled. This is a lot of Fs. When he flipped and became abusive and violent when she caught him urinating in the kitchen sink during the incident one night earlier this year. She alerted police who went to the flat, but the man, who had been drinking strong beer all day, locked the doors and brandished a large kitchen knife and cutthroat razor while threatening officers. Prosecutor Bashir Ahmed said when police arrived, he made threats towards them that he would slit their throats and burn the house down. The officers tried their utmost to reason and calm him down during the course of about 3 hours, during
Beer was
which
wearing off.
yes,
Yeah.
during which time the children were effectively locked in the house. The defendant spat at officers and threw a beer can at them and urinated at them.
Oh,
Oh
nice.
wow, that's legit.
At one point, he brandished
reach
a
you.
That is the ultimate pissing contest,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
He was
You guys.
he was seen spraying lighter fluid on the front door while making threats to turn the gas on and burn the house down. Specially trained officers were eventually able to calm him down. He only allowed the children to leave once officers had brought him cans of beer and potato chips.
All right, thank you. Now leave. Leave while I drink these. So, I mean, oh, man.
Oh
so,
wow, that's a lot going
so-
on in that story.
It couldn't happen in America. There's a reason why it wouldn't happen in America. Why? Because we fucking shoot him. First of all, he didn't have the kids in his hand as he was peeing. They would have took a shot at him.
true.
Yeah.
True. That's very true. I
Um,
don't know if that warranted death at that point, but
why not?
I don't
He
know.
threatened to kill a
Why
kid.
not?
true. But I'm saying
Shoot him dead.
he,
Nah.
I think he took it like this. He's like, you know what? She called
Shoot
the
him.
cops on me. I'm already in trouble. You can't be double in trouble necessarily.
Listen, you
in
don't,
his
it
drunk-
could be double in trouble. Listen,
no, I'm
don't,
saying in his drunk logic.
don't take my lines.
And so, yeah, so he's like, bring me the beer and the crisps, and we'll talk.
So I guess my question is, obviously, when they charge him, they're going to charge him with kidnapping, assault with a deadly weapon, resisting arrest.
That was a penis urinating, right?
Yeah. My question is, do they also tack on public urination?
Yes.
Like just to be a dick?
Yes.
Might as well add
that
on
was
6
a double
months
up
right
there.
They could also charge for assault for attempting to spit at the police. I mean, here in the States, you can.
Oh yeah,
Well,
they
not
could.
only that, but public urination is pedophilia here, isn't it? Or something.
Well, it's a sex crime.
Sex crime.
Because it's exhibitionism. So you are having your genitalia out in public, so you can become a sex offender in America.
I didn't know that was called
for
that.
being.
I just knew.
I knew
Growing up in New
something you
York.
can get in trouble.
I knew in growing in New
so-
York, we pee in like public places all the time. We
Big
would,
Daddy.
Yeah, we just don't pee near schools because you will be charged for sex for
There you
being
go.
a sex offender. And I have a friend from back in the days. We're not friends anymore, but
Sex offender.
he is charged as a sex offender for the rest of his life at 16 years old, 16, 17 years
That's
old.
That
horrible,
sucks.
man. How do
Yeah.
you get a girl after that?
He fucked he fucked his life up. Well,
That's messed
listen,
up.
we were being a dick too, by the way.
No pun intended.
No pun intended. Not whatsoever. Listen, we were drinking. Now, back in the days, we used to drink Mad Dog 2020.
Little MD.
So I have two quick stories I want to talk about. So this one, just start this one off. We used to drink Mad Dog 2020 in 40s and roam the streets and do things illegally, like robbing and shit like that. Anyway,
allegedly.
I never got caught. So, allegedly.
Allegedly never got caught.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's past, what they call it, statute of limitation. They can't arrest
I don't know.
Anyway, so we were drinking, and then we walked by a bunch of buildings. Now, he had a pee. It's like, yo, go piss around the corner, and we'll wait for you here. Well, around the corner was elementary school. Now, mind you, this is not nighttime where they could be like, yo, you got to piss in it, just piss in. This was like 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock in the afternoon.
Middle of the day.
Well, school's still going.
The kids were just getting out. They were going to their buses, all bright-eyed and
No,
bushy-tailed.
kids wasn't out yet.
The kids reported it.
No, kids were out. We were cutting. So what we used to do. So the rule of thumb growing up was, if we could make it to 11 o'clock in the afternoon, the cops can't stop us, because at that time we could play like we're seniors and we got out of school early. So we had to make it to 11. So we were drinking in the subway and like sneaking into places and drinking and getting fucked up. And then once 11 o'clock came, we started roaming the streets. Well, now he has to pee. So 12 o'clock, he pisses right in front of his elementary school, literally in front of the building, which we don't realize is an elementary school. We just see a bunch of houses and a building. Go piss in front of the building. Go piss around the building or something. Go take a piss. Well, the cops are literally right there. He doesn't spot the cops.
Ooh.
So he's pissing literally in front of the school entrance, in front of it.
Yeah.
And he's pissing. And the cops are like, yo, you got to stop that. Move. And then he just continues to pee.
He's
He's just being a
the
dick.
flow is going.
Long story short,
It's hard to stop.
story short, he runs. We fuck up. We yell at the cops. We fight the cops. And then he gets arrested. Now he gets a charge for pedophilia. I forgot what the actual charge is. But he's a registered sex offender for the rest of his life. And he was only 17 years old. It fucked his life up. And
17, you get charged as an adult.
Exactly.
Very easily.
Exactly. That's why my last time I got arrested it was at 17. So one last story I want to talk about, and that peeing story was horrible, but I just felt like I should share it because it's fucking hilarious.
No, R. Kelly is very interested right now.
Yeah.
He's tuning in. And
He's
he's
listening.
But he got away with it. He definitely got. It wasn't him. No. So it wasn't him.
Or me.
So a few weeks ago, we were talking to a bunch of women. I was talking to a bunch of women at work, and this young lady was like, "Well, you don't seem to have an issue with a girl peeing on you." I was like, "No, I don't have an issue with a young lady peeing on me because I've been squirted on before." And it's virtually
You got
the same
2 minutes to wrap all this up. I don't want to see
the
this.
same thing. We about to wrap this up.
You have less than 2 minutes now.
Listen,
this is
stop cutting me off.
a hard
Stop
sell.
cutting me off.
You can leave it as a teaser.
Listen,
And a girl peed on me.
so I was like,
Next time on Dallas Beer Talk,
I just see Dragon Ball Z.
I know. Next time on Dallas Beer Talk.
We could run another minute or two. Let's please give me this story. So
You gotta hurry, 'cause I gotta pee.
yeah, so
Yeah,
we got
legit.
this. I'm gonna wrap this up. Shut up the fuck up about peeing.
pointed at Victor.
Fuck you guys. Listen, so I was like, yeah, I've been squirted on before, so I don't see a big issue with pee. She was like, there's a big difference between squirt and pee. I was like, it's the same thing. It's literally the same thing. So she got mad at me saying that she knows her body. She's like, I know my body, and I know it's not pee. I was like, okay. Then she confirms it with another lady at work. She's like, no, it's not pee, because I could pee afterwards. So I was like, okay. Well, you guys don't. You don't. You don't
know your body.
shit.
You haven't looked into new research.
So basic information.
I've got the documents.
I got the Google research on me. Listen, go WebMD, go any sex sites or any sex classes. They'll tell you it's virtually the same thing. Squirting and peeing is virtually the same
It's a
thing.
little combination, but
It's a combination of a lot of
Majority
things,
is
but
pee.
the
It's
vast majority of
urine.
it is urine.
And
Yeah.
sterile.
Well, urine is sterile.
Which is
If
no
you-
insult.
it's no insult. It is what
No.
it is.
Do what you do.
It is what it is. But what made me laugh is that a young man explained to two older ladies what squirting is. Like it baffled me. I was like, you guys don't know shit about your body, and I wonder how you take care of yourself.
So
they didn't know what squirting was.
They don't think it's urine. They don't think it's
Oh, so, okay, so they knew what it was.
yeah.
Okay.
yeah.
They don't think it's
I
urine.
was gonna say, oh no, that's. Oh, I'm so
That's a shame.
sorry for you. You know what squirting is. Like you.
well,
find
not
out one
every girl squirting.
There
but
has been there's been something wrong in your life systemically, and it's like I apologize for every sexual partner you've ever had.
that
Well.
sexual encounters are horrible. But it's not every girl squirts. You know, you got to be. It's a combination of a lot of things why a girl could squirt.
Yeah, no, there's a kid's book that says that.
I want to say I'm very proud of Victor for getting that story in about 3 minutes. So
Yeah.
It's not the funniest part of the story. I cut a lot of things off to make
We'll
the
we'll
time
save
frame.
that for next week.
Fucking Ziggy for cutting me
We
off.
always need something to talk about.
Well.
So let's go with social medias.
social media, yeah, I'm here at Dell's Beer Talk, and I'm good.
Instagram, Sarah's Guitar, and Facebook, find me at Kirsty Caps, CAPPS. There we go.
Whoa,
Back on
hey.
Facebook.
Back at
You
it
know,
again.
I gotta talk to you about that. You made me look like an asshole.
What about you, Victor?
You can find me on Facebook and Instagram, Victor Santana. Instagram V Santana 148. Find me on Dallas Beer Talk. I'm always on there. And then Ziggy, where can we find you?
I don't do social media because it is dumb, but you can find me every Thursday at the Backdoor Comedy Club at 8:30. You can catch me every Saturday at the Backdoor at 8 and 10:15, where I more than likely will be hosting the late show. And guys, I'm excited. I just got hired by Adult Swim. I'm we're working.
shit. More than one?
Yes.
Get the fuck
Get
outta
right
here.
now.
This is a real one, guys. This is a real one. I'm actually going to be moving next month to work on this, but I am the line director. There is an NBA champion basketball player who's doing a cartoon series. You know how they do the Mike Tyson mysteries
yeah.
and stuff.
Yeah,
So
Great one.
they signed him on. He is playing a Japanese warrior that gets sent forward in time and has to, undo a whole bunch of stuff.
Magic Johnson.
Yeah, they're calling it Samurai Shack, and I'm pretty excited. So look for that in January.
nice.
In January, Samurai Shack. Jendi Tartakovsky is directing, so I'm really excited.
Oh,
So on the fuck you.
Anyways,
No,
Dallas Beer Talk, guys. We'll see you
Hey.
next week. We're out of time.
Definitely. Wait, guys. Anybody has suggestions on beers or brews you want us to drink? Please comment below.
We'd love to try.
Like, let us know what you want us to drink and try next time. Please, we love you guys. Dallas Beer Talk. We out.
Drinking under the
Next week.
influence.
All right, kids. Does everyone know what time it is? Yeah! That's right. It's time for